Good evening, another Bible Daily Dip. This is the 11th of the 11th, 2020, the anniversary of when my mother passed. Rest in peace, Mum. Praying for you. We're going to read from Jeremiah, chapter 30. See, the book of consolation, the promise of recovery for Israel. The word which came to Jeremiah from Yahweh as follows. Yahweh God of Israel says this: Write for yourself in a book all the words I have spoken to you. For look, the days are coming, Yahweh God declares, when I shall bring back the captives of my people Israel and Judah. Yahweh God says, I shall make them come back and take possession of the country I gave to their ancestors. These are the words that Yahweh spoke about Israel and Judah. Yahweh says this: We have heard a cry of panic, of terror, not of peace. Now ask and see, can a man bear children? Then why do I see each man with his hands on his loins like a woman in labor? Why has every face grown pale? Disaster. This is the great day, no other like it, a time of distress for Jacob, though he will be saved from it. That day, Yahweh Sabaoth declares, I shall break the yoke now on your neck and snap your chains, and foreigners will enslave you no more. But Israel and Judah will serve Yahweh their God, and David their king, whom I shall raise up for them. So do not be afraid, my servant Jacob, Yahweh God declares. Israel, do not be alarmed, for look, I shall rescue you from distant countries, and your descendants from the same country where they are captive. Jacob will return and be at peace, secure, with no one to trouble him. For I am with you to save you, Yahweh declares. I shall make an end of all the nations where I have driven you, but I shall not make an end of you, only discipline you in moderation, not to let you go quite unpunished. Yes, Yahweh says this: your wound is incurable. Your injury is past healing. There is no one to plead your cause. For an ulcer there are remedies, but for you no cure at all. All your lovers have forgotten you. They look for you no more. Yes, I have struck you as an enemy strikes, with cruel punishment, because of your great guilt and countless sins. Why cry out because of your wound? Your pain is incurable. because of your great guilt and countless sins, I have treated you like this. But all those who devoured you will be devoured. All your enemies all go into captivity. Those who despoiled you will be despoiled, and all who pillaged you be pillaged, for I shall restore you to health and heal your wounds, Yahweh God declares. You who used to be called outcast, Zion for whom no one cares. Yahweh God says this, look, I shall restore the tents of Jacob and take pity on his dwellings. The town will be rebuilt on its mound, the stronghold where it ought to stand. From them will come thanksgiving and shouts of joy. I shall make them increase, they will not decrease. I shall make them honoured, no more to be humbled. Their sons will be as once they were, their community fixed firmly before me, and I shall punish all their oppressors. Their prince will be one of their own, their ruler come from their own people, and I shall permit him to approach me freely. For who otherwise would be so bold as to approach me, Yahweh God demands. You will be my people, and I shall be your God. Look, Yahweh's hurricane, his wrath bursts out, a roaring hurricane to burst on the heads of the wicked. Yahweh's burning anger will not turn aside until he has performed, he has carried out what he has in mind. In the final days, you will understand this. The word of the Lord. Well, I'm not a prophet, never would attempt to be, but I have never in my soon-to-be 74th birthday, in all these 74 years, I have never witnessed anything like we're doing currently before even 2020 reached us. Things started to change and things were different and been going on slowly, but now it's out in the open. And when you look at the storms and the terrible destruction of land and property and all these floods and earthquakes and hurricanes and tornadoes and strange skies and all these things happening, they're all in this Bible. I've read the Bible every year through and through for years. But everything that I've seen on the internet from Melk, M-E-L-K-B, and the two preachers, they do a podcast every week, every couple of days, and I've given to the refugees little bits of help and support. They're giving out these Bibles in Pakistan or somewhere and helping feed the children and the poor families enslaved. Yeah, they're good to watch, but they actually show you all these things that we read about in the Old Testament. You can actually see it live on the internet. They won't put it on the normal television, but they put it on the internet, and you can sign up. And well, it's very distressing actually. It's not enjoyable to watch all these lands being flooded and all the things that are happening in Arabic countries is biblical, absolutely biblical. Everything that you're seeing is biblical. So where he said in his final days, or maybe the final days could go on for a couple of 100 years before Jesus returns, but he will return. He's prophesied what will happen. So we shouldn't be surprised when we see all these videos of what goes on in Russia, what goes on in Mexico, what goes on in Brazil, what goes on in America, the fires, the floods and the landslides. I mean, even Jamaica, where I live, I lived there for 10 years and I knew Gordonstown. It's gone. I mean, the road this week has gone completely. The people can't get in or out, not with vehicles. They could walk through and probably get landslid down to the bottom. But I used to go and help look after the poor down there and go and pray with people. I couldn't, but Gordonstown is not, it's on the outskirts of Kingston, Jamaica. And I felt so sorry for these people who were running for their lives as the film was filming. The trees and the land and the dirt was just, and the rocks and everything was just coming down like an avalanche. I was just, and when I used to drive around there, and I was saying, gosh, the floods there, and I feel sorry for the people in Jamaica. The poor, ordinary people, they're really suffering. They're really suffering because the government's, like all governments, useless. Anyway, I think this is really interesting stuff. We need to take note of Jeremiah and others who people don't want to read, but you should read because it's applicable to our times. The end times will come, whether in my lifetime, your lifetime, but it can go on for a long time because the earth can rejuvenate. We can't, but they can. The earth can. Alright, good night and God bless. Sorry I'm moaning on, but these words really get to you, don't they?